What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Talks Rubbish, and today I'm back with another video for Last Man Standing. This time, reviewing AEW's Grand Slam, the Dynamite Grand Slam that took place last night. So let's get into it. Overall, guys, I really enjoyed this show. It lived up to the hype. So let's get into the minutiae. We kicked off with probably a match of the year contender in my eyes, with Bryan Danielson facing Kenny Omega in a non-title match. Basically, this match, guys, had a bit of everything. It had, for starters, the crowd were electric for this match, as they were all night. When Bryan Danielson came out, they were yesing. When Kenny Omega came out, they were booing, but also cheering. And the crowd, they even popped for the first move, which was a lockup that the fans did. We saw Kenny Omega hit that suplexing looking move, which I can't think of the name of right now, on Bryan Danielson a few times, and we saw Bryan Danielson get hit with it on the ramp, which then began Omega targeting his neck with V-triggers and slammed through the thrown through the announce table. And Bryan Danielson would come back with knees, yes kicks, basically giving the fans everything they wanted in this match. Eventually, Bryan Danielson would go for the label lock after targeting Kenny's arm throughout the entire match. And eventually, Kenny would get out of that. The one-wing danger would be countered by Bryan Danielson. And as the two men are brawling, because, as you guys know, AEW matches have a time limit. This match was 30 minutes, had a 30-minute time limit. And we see the guys striking, and the time limit expires. So we go to a time limit draw. Overall, guys, I think this was the best call AEW could have made, because no guy loses. Kenny can be like, you didn't beat me. But then later, Bryan Danielson can come back and go, but you didn't beat me. I won a title match. I'm now number one contender, sort of thing. Yeah, overall, really enjoyed this. We then had a CM Punk promo because, as you guys know, he's going to be facing Powerhouse Hobbs on Rampage this Friday. So we would see Punk basically say to the fans, this feeling of coming out is never going to get old. And he tells people that want the old grumpy CM Punk to be like, eventually you'll get that. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy this guy. And he tells Team Taz, basically, be careful what you wish for. He's going to put Powerhouse Hobbs to sleep. Overall, I thought this was a good promo, and it advanced storylines. We then had Brian Pillman Jr. versus MJF. MJF goes for a handshake to start off the match, but Brian Pillman Jr. Obviously kicks him away and then does a ground and pound maneuver on him to continue the match. We would then see Brian Pillman Jr. continue to beat up on MJF until finally MJF is able to hit him with an arm maneuver and attack his arm. We would then see MJF target that arm, and also there was a moment in this match where Brian Pillman Jr.'s sister, who was at ringside, MJF hides behind her, and then we see just a strike to MJF's face. And eventually, Brian Pillman Jr. makes a mistake, which then leads to him being forced to tap out to the Salt of the Earth armbar. Enjoyed this, guys. Probably my weakest point of the night, but overall I enjoyed this. We then had a backstage segment where where Chris Jericho and Jake Hager, who are facing the Men of the Year on Rampage this week, which is Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. They basically tell them it's your standard wrestling promo where they're like throwing insults and we're going to beat you. Thought this was a good way to hype up the match. Little cliche in places, but it was good overall. We then had Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. And this is where the fans basically do their own thing because we see them cheering for Malachi Black, who is the heel in some ways, and then Cody, who's supposed to be the lovable babyface, is basically slaughtered in terms of crowd chants. And overall, we see a lot of callbacks to the first match with Malachi targeting Cody's leg. And then we see a spot because Brandy Rhodes is at ringside with Cody, and we see a moment where Brandy Rhodes does the cross-legged thing that Malachi Black does as he's doing it, sitting across from him. Eventually, this leads to a black mass being hit out of the ring, which forces Cody out of the ring, should I say. We then see Arn Anderson get hit because he's up on the apron. And eventually, Cody gets back in the ring. Malachi Black spits black mist in his face, rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Malachi Black beats Cody for a second time. We then had FTR versus Sting and Darby Allin. Sting essentially, he puts in a shift in this match. And he plays his greatest hits, hitting Scorpion Death Drops, Stinger Splashes, and then eventually, as FTR working over Darby Allin, he gets the hot tag. Darby is, he hits the Scorpion Death Drop on, I think it was Cash Wheeler. Then he locks in the Scorpion Deathlock as Darby hits a coffin drop on to the other member of FTR on the apron, and then Sting and Darby Allin win when the member of FTR taps out. And in our main event, we had a women's title match, Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. Really enjoyed this again. Like, that's one thing I will say about this match. Is this card in general. All the matches were really good. So check this card out just for the matches alone. We would see Britt Baker hit a Panama Sunrise at one point. We would see Britt Baker hit an avalanche. Air raid crash, I think it's called, off the top rope. We would then see Ruby Soho hit her kick to Rebel and Jamie Hayter, who's outside, and then the match. But that distraction leads to Britt Baker hitting the lockjaw and winning. Well, again, right result. Didn't think it was the right time to take the belt off Britt, but I hope this leads to more matches down the line because she had help. Overall, guys, I loved this show. Really enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe to Last Man Standing. We are on the road to 100 subscribers, and we would love to hear it. If I had to lobby a criticism at this show, it would be that maybe stories didn't progress. But one thing I will say is maybe they didn't need to because it was a pay-per-view fill show, and most shows, pay-per-views, don't have stories progress. They just finish off stories. But overall, guys, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Last Man Standing. And we will see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.